Catastrophic Necromancer Chapter 4481, A Mistaken Performance. Lin Moyu joked as Tang Feng was thrown back. He had already left the sword formation, left exposed outside. Not that he cared. Instead, he just critiqued the formation's power. The Tang God Grand Sword formation drew strength from hundreds of chaos cultivators at great completion, just barely scratching the gate to perfection, decent enough for a formation. Yet Lin Moyu sensed something missing. It wasn't complete. Probably the Dark God Pearl. With it, the sword formation could be far stronger. Lin Moyu noticed the black pearl set atop the palace was stirring, seemingly resonating with the sword formation. But the array inscribed upon the palace suppressed the pearl, keeping it stuck. The formation didn't disperse. Tang Feng regained control and pulled Lin Moyu back inside its protection, keeping his word. Tang Bing closed his eyes to divine and suddenly pointed at one corner outside the palace. His fingertip flashed and Tang Feng shouted, "There." Everyone made hand seals and the sword formation erupted again. This strike was even stronger. Sword light swept the emptiness, landing exactly at Tang Bing's chosen spot. With a deafening boom, the ground split open. A massive crack appeared across the palace. Lin Moyu observed Tang Bing's foresight had targeted the weak spot in the array. Using the Tao of Fate to divine the array's flaw. Clever, Lin Moyu judged. He made mental notes, thinking he could use this for the Fate Master in the Five Worlds domain someday. The Tao of Fate is never easy, even for a Fate Master in Chaos. Since it was his own domain's folk, Lin Moyu would help if given the chance. Chaos Child scoffed, "That's not how you use the Tao of Fate." Little Tree agreed, "He's lost the right path." Both grumbled despite not having a better answer. Lin Moyu just kept watching. A couple more sword strikes would shatter the array and let Tang Feng's group claim the Dark God Pearl. If the formation got the pearl, maybe they could actually win. But four overwhelming auras surged from beneath the ground. The Cold Toad clan's perfection powerhouses had awakened. Tang Feng's face fell. "Why are there four?" He was shocked, but didn't falter. He wielded the formation again, beating back the enemy crowd and refocusing his strike. But too slow. Before the second sword hit, a terrifying force burst forth, destroying the formation's blade, blasting the sword formation apart. Their formation was strong, but still a step below true perfection. Tang Bing whipped out a disc-shaped treasure, closing his eyes and spitting blood onto its surface. The magic wheel ascended, hovering above the palace. Countless runes fell like rain, morphing into divine weapons that hammered at the four perfection experts of the Cold Toads. This treasure was incredibly powerful. It briefly pinned the four down, paralyzing them. Ice shards exploded skyward. The ancient ice was so tough, it hadn't been ground to dust by all the fighting. The four perfection experts were exposed, immobilized by the treasure, but they struggled madly, soon to be free. Tang Feng pointed again, slashing with his sword formation at the same weak point. The immobilized experts kept roaring, seemingly sending out some kind of signal, unable to escape, but able to command. Sword light flashed as more Cold Toads rushed in, bodies blocking the strikes. They unleashed various powers, bombarding the incoming sword light. Instantly, the sword light flickered and was nearly spent before it even reached the array. That sword killed dozens of Cold Toad chaos cultivators, but this was their territory. Even killing a few meant nothing against thousands. There was no way to finish them all. "Brother, I can't hold on." Tang Bing cried out, nearly breaking under the effort to keep the experts pinned. Tang Feng growled, "Hold on just a bit longer." He tossed forth a tiny sword, which expanded and fused with the sword formation. The formation surged in power as Tang Feng signaled, "Sword God cleaves the heavens strike." A phantom appeared in the void, a pulse of sword essence rocked chaos. The apparition lifted its blade as if to split the earth itself. Lin Moyu froze. The sword essence was achingly familiar. That was Lin Mohan. Physical appearances change, but sword intent rarely does. Lin Moyu had once been called the Great Sword Sovereign. Now, to Tang Feng, he'd become a sword god. That strike must be Lin Mohan's heaven-cleaving sword. Lin Moyu wondered how Tang God sect knew Lin Mohan's sword intent. Lin Mohan's sword cleaved the sky, smashing downward. Tang Bing vomited blood. He'd reached his limit, unable to control the treasure anymore. One perfection toad broke free, confronted the sword phantom. Swathed in chaos armor, surrounded by shattered ice, it showed true form, a monstrous toad. Its blue tongue snapped out, gleaming like a blade, clashing with the phantom's sword. It blasted out freezing mist, coating Tang Feng's people with ice. The sword aura collapsed. Lin Mohan's image faded. The strike was blocked. But the mutant toad was mortally wounded, collapsing barely alive. Its ice casing, for the first time in battle, was fragmented. Lin Mohan's sword shattered fragments of ancient ice. Tang Feng also paid a price, weakened after releasing Lin Mohan's sword essence, but persisted, pointing to unleash another sword at the array's fracture. All they needed was to shatter the array and grab the pearl. But the remaining 3 perfection cold toads broke free, with Tang Bing injured from the magic backlash. Armored in chaos and wielding shards of ice, the perfection toads easily blocked the sword light. Compared to Lin Mohan's sword intent, the sword formation was much weaker. They simply couldn't win against true perfection. One attack nearly broke the formation. Many in the group spat blood. Tang Feng's face twisted in frustration. He produced another treasure, a bead resembling the dark god pearl, but not quite the same. Lin Moyu sensed raging power in the bead, more than enough to wound a perfection expert. Tang Bing's expression sharpened. "Brother, it's too soon, don't use it." Tang Feng whispered, "Any ideas left?" Tang Bing shook his head. "I made a mistake in my prediction. I'll take responsibility. Give me the blast god bead, I'll hold them off. You lead the others away." Tang Feng refused. "I said I'd succeed or die trying. If I die, that's my fate. Everyone take Tang Bing and Taoist Lin and leave. I'll hold them here." No one moved, stunned by his order. Tang Feng roared, "Will you defy me?" Tang Bing shouted, "If we go together. If we stay together." He produced a teleportation array disc and handed it to Lin Moyu. "Taoist Lin, use this to escape." Chapter 4482, Taoist Lin, are you going to massacre the clan? Tang Bing carried a teleportation array disc, an extremely advanced artifact, able to send him trillions of miles in an instant. Lin Moyu knew such discs were difficult to craft. The fact that Tang Bing carried one meant he was especially important. Even if the Tang God sect expedition all died here, they absolutely didn't want Tang Bing to die. It was his own life-saving tool, yet he'd rather hand it to Lin Moyu than use it himself. Lin Moyu had always interacted with Tang Feng, hardly speaking to Tang Bing, so he was surprised Tang Bing would act this way. No one in Tang God sect objected. None of them wanted to flee, not a single one. Tang Feng was resolute. "If that's how it is, Taoist Lin, use it and leave. The fate calculation failed, so if we die, we die. You don't have to join us." They had come with the resolve to die, seeing no hope, so now there was no point in futile resistance. Tang Feng held the blast god bead, an item which could let a person temporarily surge up a cultivation level enough to reach perfection, at least to buy some time. Yet nobody would go, and Tang Feng was helpless. Lin Moyu declined the disc. "Keep it for yourself. You want the dark god pearl? I'll get it for you." He tapped the earth with a finger, sending a chaos rune deep below. Instantly, the ancient ice ground began to tremble and quake. The palace protected by the formations shattered with a crash, so did the formations. Freed from suppression, The dark god pearl turned to a streak of light that flew their way. Tang Feng reflexively swept his sword array condensed a sword projection and caught the pearl. Boom! The array thundered, its strength soared skyward, leaping up a level. Tang Feng froze, dumbfounded by Lin Moyu's actions. How could such an inconspicuous rune suddenly obliterate the entire array? He realized it wasn't the rune, but Lin Moyu, a formation master of unimaginable level. Attacks rained down now, but the sword array imbued with the dark god pearl, now glowing brightly, lashed out sword essence and blocked every strike. With the pearl, the array shot up in power, suddenly able to stand equal with perfection enemies. Just as Lin Moyu had predicted, a complete sword array needed the dark god pearl. Quick on the uptake, Tang Bing exclaimed, "I didn't expect Taoist Lin's formation arts were this profound." Lin Moyu smiled. "Well then, you have your pearl and your mission is done. No need to become martyrs." Tang Feng was relieved and happy. He might not have feared death, but no one really wants to die. He said loudly, "It's all thanks to Taoist Lin. Let's clear a path and fight our way out together." But Lin Moyu shook his head. "Your mission's complete, but my goal hasn't been achieved." Tang Feng suddenly remembered Lin Moyu wanted the ancient ice. He thought it was a joke, but now it looked serious. Tang Feng said, "If so, how do you want to do it? We'll try our best." Lin Moyu shook his head. "No need, just watch." He left the sword array and strode straight for the Cold Toad clan members, drawing a barrage of attacks. He didn't even flinch as everything struck him. Lin Moyu's flesh glimmered. Any potent attack dissolved when it got near. He needed no effort. Physical defense alone left him invincible. Seeing Lin Moyu swamped in attacks, yet totally unharmed, Tang Feng was first tense, then awed. What is Taoist Lin's true strength? Is he at perfection? No, he's only at minor completion, but he's not like any minor completion I've seen. I just can't figure him out. How did he get so strong? Just standing there, Lin Moyu was like a wall no one could overcome, inspiring despair. Znab! He flicked his finger, and the void twisted. A horde of undead thralls appeared, bloody cloaks flapping in the icy wind. A surge of murderous energy swept the whole ancient ice plain. Lin Moyu only released 1 billion undead, but that alone was enough to terrify anyone. The Cold Toad clan might have over 1 billion members, but every undead Lin Moyu summoned was at great completion. Against 1 billion great completion combatants, even perfection masters would be shaken. The Tang God Sect crew were in total shock, jaws hanging open. What are those things? Puppets? How could there be so many, and all at great completion? All these puppets belong to Taoist Lin. Is he planning to wipe out the whole clan? Tang Feng at last grasped the truth. Lin Moyu's desire for the ancient ice was no joke. He was about to eradicate the entire Cold Toads and seize their ancestral land. There was no doubt, with so many great completion puppets at his command, Lin Moyu could do it effortlessly. Their 100-strong sword array was a child's toy in comparison. Only the 4 perfection toads might pose an issue, but Tang Feng felt Lin Moyu could handle them. Battle erupted. The undead launched their assault. But it wasn't a battle. It was a massacre, one-sided annihilation. Undead struck from all sides, sweeping across the ancient Iceland. The Cold Toads were slaughtered by the millions. Enraged, the 4 perfection leaders charged for Lin Moyu, their hatred beyond words, since in a flash, their kin were nearly exterminated. Znab! Another finger flick, a giant python appeared. The space-time soul python's eyes glazed over as it looked at the 4 toads. At once, 3 of them jerked and stopped cold. In a flash, space-time soul python's soul controlled those 3 and turned them against the 4th. Cousin killing cousin, right before everyone's eyes. Its soul control was terrifying. Few of equal rank could resist. It could only enslave 3 at once, though. The one not taken over, gravely wounded by Lin Mohan's sword intent earlier, was now doomed. Beset by 3 peers, he wouldn't last long. But at least, he wouldn't become a puppet. The Tang God sect members were dumbstruck. Lin Moyu's methods terrified them. Tang Feng realized, if Lin Moyu ever turned against them, they'd have no hope. He glanced at Tang Bing. Tang Bing silently nodded. He too accepted this truth. Chapter 4483, Did the Cold Ancient Behemoth Not Completely Die? The two brothers, Tang Feng and Tang Bing, felt as though their hearts were in perfect sync and were both relieved to have treated Lin Moyu with proper respect. They hadn't offended him. Tang Feng sighed. Little Bing, this time your fate prediction was actually correct. Tang Bing also sighed. So the Tao of Fate really can show a 10 out of 10 result. Today, their eyes had been opened. Lin Moyu's methods were far beyond their comprehension. Most of what he did, they couldn't even make sense of. Imagine living countless years, surviving trial after trial, experiencing the world's wonders, achieving the level of great completion, chaos, cultivation, only to realize how little you actually understand. Now the hundreds within the sword formation stared wide-eyed, shocked and bewildered by what they witnessed, realizing how little they actually knew. In only half an hour, the legion of undead thralls had swept the entire ancient icelands again and again. Lin Moyu turned to Tang Bing. Taoist Tang Bing, please attempt to divine if any members of the clan still survive. Tang Bing immediately agreed. Of course. He began his prediction, dripping a few drops of his own blood while the Tao of Fate churned. Millions of possibilities flashed through his soul. Moments later, Tang Bing's expression changed dramatically. His body erupted in wounds, blood pouring out, and the injuries wouldn't stop. The wounds grew larger, his body began to collapse, even his soul sustaining damage. But he could not stop divining. It was as if he'd lost control. Tang Feng shouted. Something terrible entered his prediction. Lin Moyu stepped up to Tang Bing, unleashing streams of vitality to engulf him. Tang Bing's wounds slowed, but could not be suppressed completely. Tang Feng explained, Little Bing must have encountered a powerful force during his prediction, maybe a supreme, quasi-supreme, or top-tier perfection expert. With insufficient cultivation, any time he touches upon these beings in the Tao of Fate, he'll suffer a backlash. In the past, when Little Bing wasn't yet a chaos cultivator, he once hit upon a perfection expert in a prediction and was gravely wounded. It took him 1,000 years to recover. But this time is even worse. Tang Feng explained everything in hopes that Lin Moyu could help. He was clearly anxious for his brother, but said nothing to blame Lin Moyu, only expressing concern. Lin Moyu asked inwardly, Do you have any idea what's happening? Little Tree said, Tang Feng's explanation is right. He ran into a powerful being, not just a top perfection. This must be a quasi-supreme or a supreme. Chaos Child wondered, does this mean the cold ancient behemoth isn't completely dead? Little Tree shook his head. It's definitely dead. Its corpse was even divided up. My guess is it generated a new will, which then fused with someone from the Cold Toad clan. The cold ancient behemoth was once a monstrous power, even in its peak matching a supreme. After death, parts of its corpse spawned sentience, and by merging with a member of the Cold Toad clan, it could be reborn. Of course, the reborn behemoth wouldn't return to peak strength, but could reach a level close to a quasi-supreme. If that was the case, Lin Moyu already had a plan. Just use purifying water. Purifying water could suppress a supreme's or quasi-supreme's will, so it would work for the behemoth's will as well. Tang Bing merely touched that will through the Tao of Fate. With purifying water, it could be cleansed instantly. Problems that looked insurmountable to others were trivial to the truly powerful. The saying goes, it's hard for those who don't know how, but easy for those who do. A tiny droplet of purifying water flew out, exploded in Tang Bing's body, and filled him with a mist. Sizzling sounds emerged as white steam poured out, and Tang Bing's wounds rapidly healed. Next, purifying water flooded his soul, isolating it from the invading will spawned in the Tao of Fate. Before purifying water, the behemoth's will was wiped out instantly. Tang Bing gave a groan and woke up. Lin Moyu's vitality healed his injuries quickly. Tang Bing gasped, "Taoist Lin, there's still someone alive." Lin Moyu nodded, "I already figured, where are they?" If there were no survivors, Tang Bing wouldn't have been hurt so badly. Tang Bing's body trembled as he pointed downward. The entire ancient ice is his body. Lin Moyu nodded, "Everyone retreat, leave this to me." The ancient ice was its body. Given its durability, killing it wasn't easy. But it wasn't impossible. World-burning flame, and the sky jellyfish would do it. Tang Feng led everyone back, retreating 1,000,000,000 miles. Lin Moyu recalled the undead thralls. Now only Lin Moyu remained on the frozen wasteland. A ball of flame formed in his palm and dropped into the ice. Instantly, world-burning flame swept across the land, turning it into a sea of fire. The flames sank into the earth, seeking their target. If any soul remained, the world-burning flame would force it out. Lin Moyu waited patiently. The ancient ice was just a part of the behemoth's body, still colossal enough that the fire couldn't engulf it all instantly. Time ticked by Lin Moyu was relaxed, while Tang Feng's group grew even more worried. Tang Bing had told them the next opponent Lin Moyu would face could far exceed perfection. If not as supreme, it would be nearly as strong, capable of killing them in a blink, even if they had the Dark God Pearl. Half an hour passed in tense silence. Just then, Lin Moyu's voice sounded in Tang Feng's ear, "Fall back even farther." Without hesitation, Tang Feng withdrew the group another 1,000,000,000 miles. As they retreated, rolling thunder sounded from the ancient ice, as if a beast were awakening. The sound grew, freezing everything it touched, snuffing out life. Tang Feng's sword formation became encased in cold, the outer layer turning to ice, slowing their retreat. Looking around, they saw only frozen waters stretching behind them. The cold was pouring into the sword formation. Each person's soul was chilled with terror. They pushed themselves to the limit just to resist, or they'd die at any moment. Even great completion chaos cultivators would be frozen to death. This was a horrifying cold. Luckily, they had retreated early. At the previous distance, they'd already be dead. "Break the ice!" Tang Feng yelled, slicing the ice apart. It was incredibly hard, but because they were so far away, they barely managed, just slower. As Tang Feng broke the ice, he looked back at Lin Moyu, eyes wide. "How is this possible?" Chapter 4484, Wretched and Disgusting. The void around Lin Moyu was also frozen, and to a much higher degree than what Tang Feng's group was experiencing. Lin Moyu stood right atop the ancient ice, taking the brunt of it all. By all rights, with his minor completion chaos realm, he should have been frozen to death in an instant. Technique is technique, but cultivation is cultivation. These are not the same. But reality was wildly different. What Tang Feng saw contradicted all his expectations. Faced with ice meant to freeze all, Lin Moyu simply punched, again and again. Each punch shattered mountains of ice. After only a few punches, he had opened a zone around himself, within which not a single block of ice remained whole. The punches seemed ordinary, but the force was far beyond what the Tang God Sword formation could produce. Even with the Dark God Pearl, it didn't compare. How is he so strong? Tang Feng couldn't fathom it. This was minor completion, yet each blow surpassed perfection. It wasn't just defying the heavens, this was beyond absurd, breaking the rules of chaos itself. After clearing space, Lin Moyu's body erupted in undying fire, turning his sector into a sea of flames. Waves of grey mist swept outward, constantly corroding the surrounding ice and expanding Lin Moyu's domain. The being inside the ancient ice couldn't do anything to Lin Moyu with its cold. Tang Feng kept glancing at Lin Moyu while controlling the sword formation, retreating farther and farther out until he was over 10 billion miles from the ancient Iceland and couldn't make out Lin Moyu's figure. The ancient ice was so vast, however, that it remained clearly visible. He saw the ancient ice start to move. This birthplace of the Cold Toad clan, shrouded for eternity in chill, now stirred. Frost spilled everywhere, swelling boulders fused together to form a monstrous beast. The beast looked half like a cold toad, half like something else Tang Feng had never seen. Just glimpsing it made Tang Feng feel mortal dread, a chill in his soul, instantly icing over the outside of his spirit. "Don't look." Tang Bing's voice broke in. Tang Feng snapped his eyes shut and instantly felt the chill subside. Opening them again, he saw the others had all closed theirs too. Tang Bing whispered, "That's what I touched in the divination, it nearly killed me." Tang Feng now understood the terror. That thing was beyond his comprehension. "What is it?" Tang Bing replied, "I don't know. It's probably an ancient being, or maybe the self-awareness of the ancient ice itself, merged with a cold toad clan member, granting it intelligence. Before, it had always been dormant. This time, all the commotion woke it up. I sense its power exceeds normal perfection." Tang Bing had only ever seen perfection-level experts, so his guess was conservative. Tang Feng said, "That's not the important part. What matters is how Taoist Lin fights it." Tang Bing answered, "He'll surely have a method. Still, we should pull back even more. The aftermath could easily kill us." Tang Feng agreed, "All right, let's retreat some more. If anything happens, I'll distract it while you take the Dark God Pearl and the others and run." This time Tang Bing didn't argue. He understood that retrieving the Dark God Pearl mattered most. They retreated the sword formation another 10 billion miles, watching from afar. The beast finished forming in front of Lin Moyu, its chill surging anew, pushing back the energy of death and compressing Lin Moyu's space. Lin Moyu stood motionless, simply watching, waiting for the monster to finish. Chaos Child sneered, "If that thing could see what it's become, it'd lose its mind." Little Tree nodded, "It really is hideous. Even the cold ancient behemoth wasn't attractive, but at least it wasn't so wretched." This fragment of the cold ancient behemoth, after fusing with a cold toad, became grotesque and even nauseating. Its aura finally stabilized, its soul flame flickering. Lin Moyu guessed it was now at the level of a top-tier perfection, maybe a bit stronger, but not by much. Compared to the Wine Sovereign, he felt the latter had a greater chance of victory. Killing the thing wouldn't be easy, the body was too hard, impossible for perfection experts to break. The Cold Toad massacre earlier was just scraping off its dust. It wasn't even a scratch. The behemoth glared at Lin Moyu, blue eyes burning with the whitest, most murderous blue. Roar! A blast of freezing force barreled at Lin Moyu, shattering death energy, cutting through undying fire, aiming to pulverize him. Ascend! With a low shout, Lin Moyu's aura soared. He instantly reached the peak of great completion, a hair from perfection. His body and soul, already maxed out, rose by another 10% or so. At this level, even a 10% gain was like leaping a whole minor realm for anyone else. His foundation couldn't be compared to ordinary cultivators. He was even stronger at this stage of chaos than old-time Supremes had been. He transformed into a giant and threw a punch. This was the strongest punch he'd ever thrown. He didn't even know where his own limit was, but decided now was a good chance to test it. Neither side had a domain, so it was pure brute force, a fair contest. To Tang Feng's eye, a giant materialized in the void, raised a fist, and smashed through the ice, striking the beast. The whole void shook, chaos seemed about to shatter. Massive stretches of space were crushed and revealed the abyss beneath a dozen vortexes spinning like bottomless pits. That punch etched itself in the memory of everyone present. Even in 10,000 years, when they reach perfection, none will forget it. That fist devastated everything, splintering chaos and hammering the beast, sending it flying. It cracked open rifts ran across its body, though they closed quickly and the behemoth howled in pain. Lin Moyu's fist contained not just physical but spiritual power. That same soul force followed, transforming into a giant fist that pounded into the monster's soul, raining down like a squall. Earlier, world-burning flame had traced the way, letting Lin Moyu pinpoint the soul's location. His soul attacks were as straightforward as his physical ones, pure overwhelming force. The behemoth's flesh was hard enough to resist most of the pounding, suffering only shallow cracks. But its spirit was far weaker. Repeated soul barrages left it helpless. Unable to control its own body, it reeled as Lin Moyu pressed the attack, fists following up. Chapter 4485, The Test Subject. The giant beast became a punching bag, taking blow after blow from Lin Moyu, its body constantly cracking and then swiftly healing. Its physical body was formidable, but with Lin Moyu's current strength, every strike shattered it. But its soul was weak. Each wave of soul attack left the beast screeching, utterly losing control over its body. Now it was just a living target for Lin Moyu, like an experiment. After a flurry of relentless attacks, Lin Moyu grasped the limit of his own strength. Sheer force alone, he had surpassed the Chaos Realm. Even the likes of the Wine Sovereign couldn't match him in raw body and soul might. But top perfection experts had domains, and those were extremely powerful. Once domains were in play, Lin Moyu would have the disadvantage. Even so, with his dual physical and soul defenses, killing him would be nearly impossible for them. Chaos Realm-level treasures, whether for flesh or soul, couldn't harm him unless they surpassed the Chaos Realm. In other words, he was invincible in the Chaos Realm. As long as he didn't encounter a supreme, quasi-supreme, or primordial chaos beasts, his life was never in real danger. But what Lin Moyu valued most was his foundation. Dual strength in soul and body meant an incredibly solid base, which was the springboard for future breakthroughs. Compared to fighting power, foundation mattered more. Lin Moyu reflected while he beat the beast, treating it truly like a sandbag. After a while, the beast seemed to give up on its flesh, realizing it couldn't be broken, and focused on defending its soul. Lin Moyu's soul barrages kept coming, the beast defending desperately and barely keeping itself together. From Tang Feng's group's perspective, Lin Moyu had the beast firmly suppressed, but it seemed he couldn't destroy it. If he stopped, the beast would counterattack. Lin Moyu couldn't keep this up forever, and without another trick, the beast might never lose. Tang Bing whispered, "Don't worry, Taoist Lin is using it as a test subject. When he's done experimenting, that's when the beast dies." Tang Feng nodded, trusting Lin Moyu. He'd seen countless people over his lifespan, geniuses, monsters, regulars, ancient masters. None were as absurd as Lin Moyu. He believed Lin Moyu had plenty of ways to deal with the beast. Indeed, this was the case. Once done testing, Lin Moyu had wrung all value out of the beast. Suddenly, flames erupted from his fists. World-burning flame reappeared, even fiercer than before. Fire-powered punches blasted into the beast's soul world, turning it into an inferno. The soul world trembled on the edge of collapse, its spirit roasting in the fire. Lin Moyu's soul attacks kept rolling in, locking down the beast's soul. The beast shrieked and could do nothing but suffer. Before Lin Moyu's flood of attacks, it could only await death. Eventually, unable to take it anymore, its soul exploded. Fragments scattered through its body, abandoning its soul state, and using its revived will to control its flesh for a last-ditch counterattack. Lin Moyu laughed coldly. I've been waiting for this. Drops of purifying water fell into the beast, churning into a thick mist. Where purifying water went, the beast's will was erased completely. Trying to flee into its body, the beast found the way back to its soul world blocked by world-burning flame and another tide of crushing attacks, hounded and pinned down. With nowhere left to run, mist rolled over the beast and wiped its last thoughts away. Its soul shattered, will cleansed, its body crumbled, the ice breaking apart and exposing the ancient frozen wasteland again. The wasteland returned to its original form, still frigid, chunks of ice swirling in the air. But its chill was no longer terrifying. The floating ice slowly began to melt. Victory at last. Taoist Lin's methods are beyond our imagination. Taoist Lin wants to claim the frozen wasteland, but how can he possibly move it? Tang Feng's group finally breathed easy. They'd believed Lin Moyu would win, but seeing it was different. Now they wondered how Lin Moyu would transport the frozen lands. The frozen wasteland was unique, not the kind of thing that could be put in a domain, not even close. Lin Moyu released his soul, covering the wasteland with a thought. With a wave of his hand, a vast tear opened in the void, swallowing up the entire frozen continent. The power of his storage space was on display again. A domain was nothing to it. Within that space, a domain was a mere speck. The frozen wasteland entered the storage space, reduced to a mote of dust. Lin Moyu placed the frozen wasteland into the grand world. In chaos, it couldn't fit into a domain, its grade was too high, but inside his storage space, Lin Moyu was master. He modified the rules, gave the grand world an exception, and fit it right in. He also left a drop of purifying water on the wasteland to prevent a new will from forming. The 4 Silverlight Rabbit elders stared blankly at the scene. The wasteland was a resource of unimaginable power, like nothing they had ever seen. It was huge, more than all Lin Moyu's other materials put together. The chief elder asked gingerly, "Sir Lin, what is this?" Lin Moyu replied, "It's the Cold Toad clan's territory." "Frozen continent," the chief elder gasped. Lin Moyu said, "Yes, the frozen wasteland their territory and also a supreme crafting material. I moved it here to grow domains." "That's extravagance, using an entire territory as crafting supplies for a domain. Most would never dream of it. The kind of karma that comes with using someone's ancestral land as material is not something regular people could endure." The chief elder asked, "So what of the Cold Toad clan?" Lin Moyu answered, "Naturally, they've been destroyed. Truly, after taking their homeland, how could the clan survive? Chaos is brutal, tales of extermination are common, and even Silverlight Rabbits lived under the fear for years." Lin Moyu seemed nice, but only because they served a purpose and were obedient. Otherwise, he'd exterminate them too. The chief elder considered it normal. That was the law of chaos. As long as they obeyed, all would be fine. Their lives were already much better than before. He said quietly, "Don't worry, Sir Lin, we'll make full use of the frozen continent." Lin Moyu replied, "I've heard it can compress domain power. Research it as you wish. I won't interfere. If you need more resources, let me know and I'll try to find them." Chapter 4486, Lower Domain Combat Power. He glanced at Yin De on the silver grass plain, still adjusting to his power. Lin Moyu was in no rush. Such a huge boost would take time to absorb. With Yin De's aptitude, rapid results weren't possible. Lin Moyu preferred slow, solid progress over speed. After ensuring Yin De was fine, Lin Moyu left. The ancient ice plain vanished from chaos. The frozen void slowly melted, and the Cold Toad clan was erased from chaos. To chaos as a whole, this was a trivial matter. Countless races exist. Losing one among many is nothing. The cold, ancient behemoth had been dead long ago, its body carved up. This leftover remnant was simply a bargain for Lin Moyu. Originally, Lin Moyu had considered saving a chunk as corpse explosion material. But Little Tree advised against it. If the cold, ancient behemoth were used this way, it might blow a revered sovereign apart. That would bring Dao's attention, and unless prepared for head-on confrontation with Dao itself, it's best not to stir it up. And by the time he could fight Dao, this corpse might not even be useful. Lin Moyu's punch alone could become mightier than an explosion. So the ancient ice lost value. Better not to tinker with what can't be truly used. Lin Moyu crossed the frozen wastes and returned to Tang Feng's group. "All right, let's go." His casual tone made Tang Feng blink before answering, "Right, let's go." Tang Feng was a bit nervous. He now realized Lin Moyu's power far exceeded that of the entire Tang God sect. Being around Lin Moyu was more stressful than meeting an elder in his own sect. Lin Moyu smiled. "No need to be tense, I just needed a shortcut." Tang Feng tried to calm himself. "Understood. You've done us a huge favor, and Tang God sect will always remember. If you ever need us, just ask." Lin Moyu smiled. "Don't worry, I'll call on you." Tang Feng stammered, "I'll gladly welcome you anytime." He produced a jade token. Whoever brought it to Tang God sect would alert Tang Feng. Tang Bing also gave Lin Moyu a jade token. "My brother sometimes travels, but I'm usually at the sect. You're always welcome as a guest." Lin Moyu accepted the tokens and suddenly asked, "Your Tang God sect's history must be quite long." Tang Feng replied, "Indeed, we're an ancient sect, but we aren't sure how old. Some records are missing. I searched but found no earlier details." Lin Moyu said, "Earlier you used a certain sword artifact with unusual sword intent." Tang Feng said, "That's the sect's supreme treasure, the heaven-slaying sword. It's made to work with the Tang God sword formation. At full power, even we can strike with a perfection-level attack. The elders can push it even higher. They say the heaven-slaying sword was left by an ancient senior. But I haven't found any records. Maybe the elders know." Despite his position, Tang Feng was only great completion, so some things were out of his reach. Lin Moyu smiled, "I'll ask the elders when I visit." Tang Feng asked, "Are you interested in the heaven-slaying sword?" From his view, Lin Moyu had no use for such an item. He was far more powerful than even their sword at full blast. Lin Moyu shook his head, "Not really. I'm just intrigued by the sword intent, nothing more." After all, it was Lin Mohan's sword intent. Perhaps Tang God sect was related to Lin Mohan or even founded by him. It was idle curiosity. If there was a connection, helping the sect wouldn't be a mistake. On the way back, there was no need to hide in time-space. They moved openly and much faster. While the Tang God sect group were from the central domain, they hadn't violated any sovereign's rules. All they fought were great completion enemies. Normally, even perfection-level enemies in the Western Pole wouldn't interfere. And now with Lin Moyu present, anyone picking a fight would be courting death. Lin Moyu lounged on Tang Feng's sword, letting Tang Feng handle the flight. If he could be lazy, Lin Moyu did nothing. Tang Feng made small talk, mainly explaining things about the Central Domain God Alliance. Lin Moyu listened most of the time. They were both God Alliance members, but Tang Feng was senior and knowledgeable. Lin Moyu knew nothing of the alliance, so he took the opportunity to learn. Through Tang Feng, he learned the Central Domain God Alliance had 4 branches: east, south, west, north. These refer not to directions, but to domains, created to deal with fighting the other 4 extremities. Each extremity has its own traits, so the God Alliance adjusts tactics accordingly. In addition, there is a headquarters in the Central Domain, holding absolute authority and all the strongest powers. Many their only answer to the supreme leader of the Central Domain. Having heard about the God Alliance, Lin Moyu asked about the upper domain. With the central domain and west at war, the north stirring, he had heard upper domain would assist. Tang Feng knew a little. Upper domain also has a god alliance almost the same name. They aren't weak, but within the same cultivation rank, their combat strength is lower. They're too focused on pure power, not actual battle. For the north, it's no big deal. But among the three domains, the strongest in war is the lower domain. They just rarely get involved. Once, the four extremities and three domains all fought at once. I forget why, but it was brutal. Even sovereigns were involved. The central domain god alliance held off the west and south. The upper domain checked the north and east. But the upper's god alliance was overmatched. The east fell, and we couldn't spare anyone to help. That's when the lower domain stepped in. They routed the east, slaughtered sects and clans, leaving the east too afraid ever to try again before withdrawing. And they only used 100,000 people, while the east had over 1 billion. 100,000 against 1 billion, and they won. That's how strong the lower domain's fighters are. It might be exaggerated, but there had to be some basis in fact. Suddenly, Tang Bing said, "Someone is blocking our path." Chapter 4487, All I Can Help With. Along the way, Lin Moyu chatted with Tang Feng, while Tang Bing occasionally performed divinations. Simple divination was no burden for him. As long as nothing above perfection was involved, he was fine. His predictions helped the group avoid trouble, and now the main aim was to get the Dark God Pearl home, not to fight. This time, Tang Bing saw someone blocking their route up ahead, right by the cross-domain array's sub-array, which seemed less than coincidental. Tang Bing wondered, how did they know we'd come this way? It doesn't seem random. Tang Feng mused, West Pole has fortune tellers too. Maybe they divined our route, or perhaps some artifact could achieve it. Plus, with all the people we killed these past centuries, we were bound to catch some attention. That's probably why we're being intercepted. Is there a perfection expert among them, or how many? Tang Feng was sharp. He could usually identify the core problem quickly. Tang Bing shook his head. There are plenty, but I don't know how many exactly. My divination is being disrupted. There shouldn't be any perfection present, at least, so far, they're not showing up. Tang Feng said, even if there are perfection experts involved, they won't show for now. Is there a way to slip past? Tang Bing replied, let me check. After another divination, his face darkened. No way, they've got a way to track us. Tang Feng summed up, looks like they're prepared. If we can't avoid them, we'll fight. Tang Bing nodded and pulled out a piece of fur, projecting a void map. He marked a few spots, red for their current location, blue for the enemies, green for the teleportation array. The enemy doesn't know the exact array location, but they know our heading and plan to intercept us midway. Changing our course won't help. My divination shows only a frontal attack will work. Tang Feng finished. By the rules, perfection experts from either side won't take part, but since we're outsiders, anything could happen. And since we've hunted so many West Pole natives, even if we covered our tracks, if they're set on killing us, proof isn't needed. This time we'll have to force our way through. Are my brothers ready? Everyone's fighting spirit soared, they answered, not in words, but readiness for battle. War, that was their answer. One way or another, they'd get the Dark God Pearl home. Lin Moyu stayed silent until Tang Feng looked his way. Lin Moyu got his meaning. Relax. As long as a Supreme doesn't intervene, you'll make it back. Tang Feng was instantly relieved. With you saying that, I'm at ease. Lin Moyu shook his head. You'll still need to fight. As long as their perfection experts don't join in, I won't intervene. If you fail, it just wasn't meant to be. Tang Feng suddenly held up the Dark God Pearl. Taoist Lin, may I beg one last favor? Lin Moyu saw the request coming. Don't worry, if your whole group dies, I'll bring the Dark God Pearl home for you. This interception battle was trouble Tang Feng's group had brought upon themselves. it had nothing to do with Lin Moyu. As long as the West Pole perfection experts stayed out, Lin Moyu wouldn't touch that karma. If Tang Feng couldn't break through bad luck. As for the pearl, Lin Moyu could help them take it home, but only when it suited him. Tang Feng understood this was Lin Moyu's limit. They just met, and he'd already done more than enough. Without Lin Moyu, they'd never have gotten the pearl. Even this much was already generous. Before engaging, Tang Feng halted the sword formation so the group could rest and prepare for the push. This was the West Pole, not their home ground. They wouldn't linger. And with the teleport array nearby, getting there was safety. After a brief rest, the formation kicked back to life. Tang Feng drove it as a single indomitable sword, slicing through the void. 100 million miles, a billion miles in no time, the sword formation breached 10 billion miles. A force appeared 1,000 strong, all chaos great completion, from 3 distinct non-human races. They had taken beast form, huge bodies like iron walls, blocking the way entirely. When West Pole natives enter beast form, they fight at full power. In human form, they cultivate, but in beast form, it's battle time. Compared to them, Tang Feng's people were tiny, almost ant-like. But size didn't dampen their momentum. Tang Feng cried, "Tang God Grand Formation, arise. Kill!" A massive sword exploded into space. These West Pole beasts weren't phased. A ram-like beast with glowing horns, twisted space, a barrier cut their advance. Suddenly progress stalled. Easy to break space now froze them in place. A wall now stood, progress halved. Tang Feng roared, "It's a Sky Ram space lockdown. Bing, use the void-piercing spike." Tang Bing launched a small silver spike, which expanded and blasted a huge path through the barrier. Following the spike, the group advanced, coming face to face with their foes. The Sky Rams were flustered. They could bend space, but not withstand pitched battles. They called up a legion of dragon turtles. Their shells formed a massive shield, guarding the Sky Rams. Scrouge! The great sword smashed the shield. The dragon turtles stumbled back. Yet Tang Feng's momentum also stalled, and their progress slowed again. Surrounding West Pole beasts closed in with giant forms to pin Tang Feng's crew. Explode! Tang Feng muttered, sword formation split into countless blades, spraying outward to drive back the enemy. He drew another artifact. Another small sword like the one earlier, but lacking Lin Mohan's sword intent, a replica. He merged it into the formation, unleashing a tidal wave of sword power. It was Lin Mohan's, but still formidable. God! Swords lashed out. Whoever blocked died. Get out of my way. 100 whips lashed forward. Bang, 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 sword shadows shattered. Tang Feng's force fell back. Chapter 4488, Breaking Through. The sword formation fell back, but didn't collapse. Previous battles with the Cold Toad clan had shown its resilience. This formation wouldn't break easily. What forced the retreat were hundreds of giant lizard-like beings, each with long, snake-like tails, as deadly weapons powerful enough to kill any chaos great completion who wasn't strong enough. Their numbers matched Tang Feng's group, and together their strength pushed the sword formation back. Tang Bing closed his eyes and divined. He and Tang Feng formed the core of the formation, Tang Bing for guidance, Tang Feng for control. Suddenly Tang Bing pointed left, and Tang Feng instantly forged a sword seal. At his command, all the Tang God sect members completed their seals together, condensing the formation into a massive sword, slashing in the direction Tang Bing indicated. The formation surged behind the blade, using it as a path to break the siege. Against these West Pole beasts, one must never get surrounded. Once trapped, there's no way out. That had been Tang Feng's plan all along. He stuck to it, keeping the Dark God Pearl in reserve as his trump card. The giant sword slashed a path, but resistance waited. Huge bee-like creatures guarded the way. As the sword approached, they beat their wings, showering the formation with countless stingers like artillery shells. Tang Feng shifted his seals, explode. The sword detonated, generating a tidal force that repelled the stingers and launched a devastating wave, smashing the giant bees aside and opening a gap. Seizing the opportunity, the formation rushed out through the breach. Anguished roars sounded before them, materialized a massive creature, shaped like a rhinoceros and gleaming with gold. "That's a golden light divine rhino," Tang Feng said quickly, a renowned powerhouse race in the West, legendary for their strength. Their battle power was unrivaled in their realm. Even among the 4 extremities and 3 domains, they were feared. The gold rhino flared, its size ballooning to 100,000 miles. Its horn unleashed a beam of light that crashed toward the sword formation. Tang Feng's expression hardened, "Hold tight, smash through." The sword formation slammed into the gold light. Both were deflected, ricocheting aside. Mori West Pole beasts lay in wait on the new route, unleashing relentless attacks. Again, the formation exploded into thousands of blades, meeting the assault head-on. Tang Feng pushed the formation, keeping it moving, never letting them be fully surrounded. From his vantage, Lin Moyu watched the chaos with interest, riding Tang Feng's sword and flying all over the field. There were so many kinds of West Pole beings, it was like a zoo, every creature imaginable. That gold rhino really is impressive. It had single-handedly blocked Tang Feng's sword formation. Everyone was chaos great completion, but the rhino was several times tougher. Little Tree chimed in, "Of course, it has a trace of wild bronze bull blood. Even a drop is enough to put it at the top of its class." Lin Moyu replied, "Its aura reminds me of the Chaos Wild Ox." Little Tree added, "Chaos Wild Ox has tons of wild bronze bull blood, so it's even fiercer." How strong was the bronze bull? Little Tree, "Attack isn't stellar, but defense is nearly unbreakable. Took a lot for me to kill him." So Little Tree had actually slain the bull, making him an authority. In Little Tree's judgment, the bull's defense was tops the attack, just decent. Defense can always be breached, and in the end it was killed. Here the gold rhino, with just a hint of bull blood, was already insurmountable. It kept firing gold beams, foiling each attempt by Tang Feng's group to break out without the Dark God Pearl. Escape seemed impossible. Despite this, Lin Moyu noticed the battlefield shifting. Each attempt by Tang Feng wasn't random. He was steering the fight toward the cross-domain array. If they could reach it, they could escape alive. Lin Moyu saw the plan it could work, but not succeed in the end. Through the undead eye, Lin Moyu picked out several massive soul flames burning far-away perfection-level chaos beings. They hadn't acted, just watched, waiting for Tang Feng to escape before intervening. After spending hundreds of years in the West, picking off countless natives, Tang Feng's group wasn't going to be allowed to simply leave. The formation twisted and rolled in repeated breakout attempts. Tang Feng's skill was remarkable, and with Tang Bing's guidance, they never got fully trapped. But space to maneuver was dwindling, the encirclement was closing, and Tang Feng's options nearly gone. Finally, the ring locked. Once trapped, they would have no hope left. Lin Moyu, watching the scene, knew the hour had arrived. Next instant, Tang Feng drew out the Dark God Pearl and fused it with the sword formation. Its power erupted far greater than before. At once, the formation leapt past chaos great completion, achieving perfection power. The pearl was Tang God Sect's supreme treasure, the real heart of the formation. Divine sword descends. Tang Feng growled, pouring all his force into the formation. A monstrous sword manifested, a masterpiece of lethal majesty, every pattern a work of art. On its hilt, 3 sockets waited for gems. The Dark God Pearl shot into one, becoming part of the sword. The sword fell void, ruptured, power utterly at perfection level. The surrounding great completion beasts were stunned. It was too late to flee. Stop! Someone shouted finally. A perfection expert intervened, but too late. The sword struck. Sword light swept out, void shattering, screams filled the air. Sword Kai surged outward, eviscerating everything. West Pole defenders were ripped apart, bodies and souls carved up helpless. Tang Feng unleashed the strike, pale after expending almost all his power, but used the formation to speed away. He ignored the carnage behind, focused only on escape back to the central domain. Get back! An enraged roar, a giant hand appeared out of nowhere and smacked the sword formation like a fly. Chapter 4489. The perfection experts ran away. The just broken through sword formation was sent flying again, and Tang Feng spat out a mouthful of blood, so did all those within the formation. That slap was too strong, beyond chaos great completion. Tang Feng clenched his bloodied teeth. Perfection expert. A perfection expert from the West Pole had finally intervened. Tang Feng didn't know what to do. Confronted with such a foe, he had no options left. Earlier, they still had treasures that could briefly stall a perfection expert, such as Tang Bing's artifact or the one slash to heaven's sword. But those had already been used in the battle with the Cold Toad clan. Even the Dark God Pearl could only match one sword strike with a perfection expert, and Tang Feng had already swung that sword. He couldn't unleash another. Stabilizing the sword formation, Tang Feng didn't push further. He knew there was no way to break out against a perfection expert. Tang Bing finished his divination and shook his head at Tang Feng. The result wasn't optimistic. With their own strength, they couldn't escape. Both looked to Lin Moyu. Now only Lin Moyu could help. Previously, Lin Moyu had said as long as West Pole perfection experts didn't intervene, even if their side was wiped out, he wouldn't act. But now that a perfection expert had moved, Lin Moyu should step in. They saw Lin Moyu studying the area where they'd broken out. The sword light had dissipated, and the surrounding West Pole beasts were suffering mass casualties. Over 1,000 Chaos, Great Completion natives had perished in one strike, and most survivors were wounded, some very severely. It had been a strike equivalent to that of a perfection expert, immense power. Even the Gold Rhino, with its vaunted defenses, was battered, its horn partially smashed. Lin Moyu asked, "That divine sword you summoned earlier was impressive. What's its story?" Tang Feng hadn't expected Lin Moyu to ask about the sword, but seeing Lin Moyu's calm, it reassured him. Lin Moyu didn't fear the perfection experts at all. Tang Feng explained, "Our records say the Dark God Pearl was once a gem in that sword. Our formation's ultimate secret is summoning the sword. Supposedly, it was wielded by a legendary sword god, and its power is on par with the treasures of a supreme. But we can only use the Dark God Pearl to summon a projection. If our elders used it, the summoned sword could sweep most perfection experts away. Sadly, we fall far short. Being able to summon only a projection meant the sword still truly exists somewhere, not a relic, but a current artifact." Lin Moyu suspected this divine sword was once Lin Mohan's blade, and Lin Mohan was the sword god in question. After Lin Mohan, none had earned that honor. Given everything, Lin Moyu felt the Tang God sect was probably Lin Mohan's legacy. But Lin Mohan, always reclusive, founding a sect was odd. Maybe reincarnation had changed her disposition. Lin Moyu was curious about his own sister's previous life. Perhaps that's something to explore one day. He pondered why Lin Mohan would be reborn as his sister, sharing a blood resonance. In hindsight, it seemed intentional rather than coincidence. Snapping out of his musings, Lin Moyu saw Tang Feng and Tang Bing watching him, so he smiled. "Keep heading for your destination, I'll handle the rest." He stepped from the formation and stood atop the sword. Tang Feng reshaped the sword formation, forging a giant blade for Lin Moyu to stand on, then continued flying toward their goal. Lin Moyu showing himself drew surprise from their enemies, a chaos minor completion standing so exposed. What was he planning? It didn't matter, the West Pole perfection expert tried again. Get back, you can't leave. A giant hand reached from the void, swatting at the sword formation. Lin Moyu smiled. Ignore it, keep advancing. Tang Feng obeyed, driving the formation forward. Twisted void swirled, and 3 gigantic cold-toed beasts appeared, launching savage attacks. Their assault shredded the giant hand and unleashed a torrent of frozen energy, exposing the hidden perfection expert. In front of Lin Moyu's necromancer eye, his concealment failed completely. These 3 toads, swinging frozen power, attacked as if desperate. What are you doing? He roared. The cold toads were West Pole natives. Why attack him? Then he noticed these 3 looked vacant, their eyes dull. They'd been mind-controlled. He stared at Lin Moyu. Are you the one controlling them? Lin Moyu grinned. Guess. The expert nearly choked. A chaos minor completion, controlling 3 perfection-level beasts, was beyond comprehension. Furious but under attack by 3 perfection-controlled beings, he could do nothing but fight for survival. Lin Moyu turned elsewhere. You 2 stop hiding and come out. His words thundered across the void, twisting space and forcing 2 other perfection experts into the open. He gazed at them. You want to fight too? They said nothing, but their surging aura made their intentions clear. They'd come specifically to keep Tang Feng's group from leaving. They all knew about the cross-domain array. If Tang Feng's team reached it, they'd escape. Now was their last chance to intervene. But before they could act, Lin Moyu pointed. A distortion appeared, and the space-time soul python emerged. The 2 saw the python and instantly panicked, bolting away at full speed. They ran. And not just them, the one wrestling with the cold toads gave a strange cry and also fled, vanishing in a heartbeat. Lin Moyu was stunned. They just ran off. He hadn't expected the space-time soul python to be so terrifying. One glance, and all the enemies fled. You sure have a reputation, Lin Moyu teased. The python calmly answered, a lot of West Pole people fear me. After failing to reach Quasi-Supreme, the python had turned half-mad. Many perfection experts had fallen to its control, losing themselves and dying. Almost every perfection expert in the region knew of this infamous creature. See it, and you escape immediately, lest you become its next puppet. The python was unmistakable. Everyone recognized it. Lin Moyu hadn't expected such instant results. If he'd known, he'd have used it sooner and saved a lot of trouble. Chapter 4490, Thinking from the Details. The 3 perfection powerhouses of the West Pole fled 1 trillion miles before stopping. They looked at each other in lingering fear. How could it be the space-time soul python? Yeah, why would the space-time soul python be here? No wonder those 3 cold-toed ancients attacked me. Turns out they were being controlled by the space-time soul python. But why would the python listen to that little guy? Are we really just going to let them go? With the space-time soul python present, what else can we do? Go and become its puppets? The 3 were truly helpless. They couldn't provoke the space-time soul python and didn't even dare appear before it again. In their eyes, the python was an utterly perverse existence. Unless a Quasi-Supreme or Supreme intervened, anyone challenging it would die. For now, they were powerless. Their survival was more important than whether Tang Feng's group escaped. With the space-time soul python clearing the way, and 3 perfection-level cold toads leading, an overwhelming force filled the void. No one dared approach. Especially those who'd previously tried to block the group. They all watched Tang Feng's party leave with strange expressions. You had perfection guardians. Why didn't you say so? Why were we even trying to stop you? Tang Feng at last fully relaxed. Just like Lin Moyu had said, as long as no Supreme stepped in, and if they could breach the Great Completion blockades, they'd be fine. Perfection experts didn't matter. Lin Moyu never saw them as a real threat. They continued smoothly to their destination, unimpeded. Tang Feng took out the array disk. It resonated with the cross-domain formation and began activating. He then pulled out a pagoda artifact. Drawing everyone inside this treasure allowed him to lead everyone through the great formation. It was a high-level item. Tang God Sect's ancient legacy ensured deep resources. Tang Feng asked, "Taoist Lin, will you come in?" Lin Moyu shook his head, "No need." Tang Feng didn't insist, understanding Lin Moyu's independence. Once the disk activated, it synced with the grand teleportation array. Little Tree quickly synced to the spatial frequency and located the array's exact position. Found it tilde. Before the array disk was fully ready, Little Tree had already pinpointed the array. At this point, Lin Moyu no longer needed the array disk at all. When the activation finished and Tang Feng prepared to enter, the grand array would send him back to the central domain. Tang Feng asked, "Taoist Lin, won't you return with us?" Lin Moyu shook his head, "You go first. I have things to do here. Thank you, Tang Feng, for your guidance. When I have time, I'll visit Tang God Sect." Tang Feng clasped his hands in salute. "We await you at the sect. Your help will be remembered by us all." Lin Moyu just happened to suit each other's needs. No need to be so formal. Tang Feng, "I understand." He entered the array, the formation fully engaging and linking to the great teleportation array. Tang Feng instantly vanished into the void, sent down a spatial channel toward the central domain. Next instant, Little Tree's roots tunneled through layers of space, opening a direct path to the great array's layer. Lin Moyu entered, finding the massive formation itself. The formation had shrunk down to a 10-meter-wide flat disk, fused almost perfectly into a spatial seam so well hidden that even races with innate space talents would struggle to find it. Lin Moyu was familiar with this kind of formation. He inscribed several chaos runes to make himself a back door. He slipped in like a stone into water. All these great arrays shared the same design. Lin Moyu had already seen one in the East Pole. He quickly found the core and entered directly. There the familiar statue awaited. Every formation featured a statue left by the Calamity Supreme in both main and sub-arrays. As long as Lin Moyu connected with one, he could proceed. The statue served two purposes. First, to hold a fragment of the Supremes, each will stored separately, weaker for stealth and safety. Second, as insurance. In the event of a mishap, the will in the statue could take action. "You're here," rumbled the Calamity Supreme's deep voice. Lin Moyu was used to it. "I'm here, anything you want to say." The statue trembled slightly. "Everything you need to know, you already know. Since you're here, I'll take my leave." Lin Moyu replied, "Safe travels." A spatial rift opened behind the statue, which then flew in and disappeared. This time, the Supreme left no further message, but actually, he had through what he didn't say. From that single remark, Lin Moyu deduced that all the statues' embedded wills had now linked together. Previously, each statue's will was independent. Whenever Lin Moyu arrived, each would repeat the necessary information, often redundantly. This redundancy was deliberate, a safeguard in case something happened to one, ensuring nothing crucial was lost. But now this statue stated plainly that Lin Moyu already knew everything which Calamity Supreme never would have said before, since if Lin Moyu had visited West Pole first, he'd have missed out. Thus, Lin Moyu inferred the fragments of the Supremes will had linked together. Why? Because he'd already found several arrays, and those statues had all gone to the same place, their wills fusing, forming a stronger will, which could connect with the weaker fragments and keep up to date, eliminating repetitive instructions. From such small clues, Lin Moyu worked out the situation. The most important thing wasn't that, however, but rather something Calamity Supreme once said. I am you, but not you. Now Lin Moyu understood he truly was not the Supreme's reincarnation. If he were, then at a certain strength, the will in the statues would conflict with him, creating a paradox of two Supremes at once. Thus the phrase, I am you, but not you, must be reinterpreted. He inherited the Supreme's will, but was not his reincarnation. He was only the successor to the will. His selfhood remained his own. If he ever wished to abandon that inheritance, it was possible. He was not bound. The path ahead would be Lin Moyu. Alone, he wouldn't repeat the Supreme's life. With a flurry of chaos runes, Lin Moyu began refining the grand array, using the sub-array to influence the distant main array in the central domain. Chapter 4491, Teleportation Array Closed. The refining process went very smoothly. Lin Moyu had refined many such arrays and felt no pressure at all. His soul's advancement meant that every chaos rune was stronger than before, so the refining went even faster. In less than a day, the sub-array was completely refined, and using this as a springboard, he began to refine the main array. The refining power spanned the vast void, traversed the desolation scar, and silently entered the main array. Cultivators within the main array had no idea the cross-domain array already had a new master. The presence of the new master had no effect unless he chose to exert control. If he did so, the cross-domain array would be under Lin Moyu's full command. In the central domain, near the West Pole, stood a city called Lingxi City. There were also Yinan City and Baikeng. The four cities of East, South, West, and North all shared something. Each was refined from fragments of the same domain, giving them common traits, and all were enveloped by the main cross-domain array. The cross-domain array in Lingxi City operated slowly, space distorting as Lin Moyu appeared in the city. The city's formation automatically sensed his token, confirming his identity. If the visitor wasn't a Central Domain God Alliance member, the formation would sound an alert. A sizable army was stationed here, with several perfection experts overseeing its security was not an issue. Using the cross-domain array to enter Lingxi City, Lin Moyu looked beyond the city where the formation lay. He was now its master. Whether it worked depended on his will. The God Alliance's layout was systematic. Outside Lingxi City was another city, Wangxi City, mirroring Wangdong City in the east. Now Lin Moyu needed to travel from Lingxi to Wangxi and then teleport to other regions. Unlike the West Pole, every teleportation array in the central domain was built as a massive city. Led by humans, the central domain setup was totally different. Humans value interaction, so they built the array into city hubs, where people could rest, trade, and enjoy the security guaranteed by the God Alliance. Thanks to these rules and institutions, even the weak could live peacefully here. Compared to the central domain, the West Pole was almost barbaric. Lin Moyu returned to Wangxi City, feeling something like a traveler coming home as he walked among cultivators on the bustling streets. He didn't rest, there was no need. Lin Moyu quickly found the teleportation array in Wangxi, preparing to head north to Wangbei. The plan was to teleport to Wangbei, then move to Linbei City, and finally enter the North Pole. The South Pole was at war. He just hoped the North Pole was peaceful. If not, things would get complicated. But when he arrived at the array, he was a step too late. Travel from west to north required passing through hundreds of teleportation nodes. Each transfer happened automatically, without his intervention. When he reached the teleport array, something was wrong. It was packed with people, more so than normal. At least 10,000 crowded the area, the air above full too. A cacophony broke out as many people complained, some anxious and even panicking. With a nudge of his soul, Lin Moyu heard fragments of conversation. Why is the teleportation array closed? My family is waiting for me. If I don't make it back, the domain lord will never forgive me. I'm finished, I'm finished. My disciples are still in the north, this array can't close. The array was closed. Lin Moyu frowned, seeking the array's overseer, a Dao life cultivator in God Alliance attire, likely a junior member. Lin Moyu showed his ID. Why is the teleportation array to Wangbei closed? The man saw Lin Moyu's credentials and quickly bowed. Senior, the North Pole is on high alert. The Alliance needs to mobilize, so the array is temporarily requisitioned. How long will the closure last? Asked Lin Moyu. The man shook his head. I don't know. The closure was personally ordered by God Alliance elders. They didn't say for how long. Judging by past experience, it won't be short at least 100 years, maybe 1,000. It really depends on when the war breaks out and ends. The Alliance would not close an array merely to mobilize. There had to be other reasons, just not made public. Closing the array causes problems, but the God Alliance might not care. Lin Moyu continued, what if I detour through Wangdong City? The man answered, the Wangdong to Wangbei array is still open, but since the southern border is at war, seniors can't transfer through Wangnan. As for the central headquarters route, if you have access, you could transfer directly from HQ to Wangbei, which would save a lot of time. So there were 3 routes, via Wangxi City, via Wangdong City, or using headquarters. Only the headquarters route was shortest, but only select people had access. With Wangxi's array shut, Lin Moyu could only go via Wangdong. But with the south at war, going via Wangdong meant first routing through the main HQ. This complicated things greatly, costing everyone more time and money. Worse, some only wanted to make intermediate stops, now they'd overshoot, ending up even farther away. That explained the swelling crowd and the God Alliance's lack of a solution. Despite the crowd, Order held no one dared cause trouble with the God Alliance in charge. Lin Moyu calculated, from here to HQ and then onward would add over 15 days compared to a direct route, via Wangdong, over 40 more days. After thinking, Lin Moyu decided, in that case, I'll go via Central Domain Headquarters. He'd never seen the headquarters before joining the God Alliance. This was a good chance to take a look at the massive power getting the Central Domain's peace and growth. Lin Moyu paid in Chaos Gold and entered the array, teleporting to Alliance HQ. Maybe due to his empowered body and soul, Lin Moyu noticed space itself seemed to slow, and he could see the shifting scenery clearly as he traveled. Chaos space operated with regularity, unlike the absolute turmoil of the Scar region. During transmission, Lin Moyu studied the changing world, faintly noticing something amiss. 10 minutes after the journey began, the direction shifted not toward headquarters anymore. Each node transfer was very fast, less than half a second, fully automated. This entire cluster of arrays was highly instructive. With the right approach, it could yield unexpected opportunities. After a few days in transmission, the destination appeared Central God Alliance Headquarters. An old man awaited, surrounded by women Lin Moyu recognized. Chapter 4492, Don't Make Trouble. The old man looked unfamiliar, yet he was smiling cheerfully at Lin Moyu, as if he knew him well. At his side were 3 women, each equally smiling at Lin Moyu. They were all faces Lin Moyu had encountered once before. A distant memory stirred back in the grand world. When Lin Moyu painstakingly reached the other shore realm, he had glimpsed a lakeside scene, a group collecting ancestral water and handing it to a white-robed elderly man. Back then, Lin Moyu hadn't realized the white-robed elder's level, but later learned he was a supreme, as was the green-robed one Chaos, very peak. The 3 women were among those collecting water at the lake. To Lin Moyu, these 3 should be subordinates of the Supreme, so why were they here? Wasn't the Central Domain ruled by the Green Robe? "Greetings, Taoist Lin. I have waited a long time," the old man said with courteous respect. The three women also bowed, their beautiful eyes brimming with curiosity directed at Lin Moyu. Clearly, these people had come specifically for Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu stepped out of the teleport array and greeted the elder. "I greet you, senior. What business would you have with me?" The elderly man wore the attire of the God Alliance and was a chaos perfection expert, one of the very best, his natural aura as heavy as the wine's sovereign. There were many perfection experts in the Alliance, but few as great as this one. Lin Moyu judged his position was very high. The elder squinted and smiled. "Let me introduce myself. My surname is Mu, given name Tian's, and I am the vice leader of the Central Domain God Alliance." Vice leader? Lin Moyu hadn't expected this status. The Alliance had one true leader and a vice. The main leader was mysterious and rarely ever seen. On normal days, all major affairs of the Alliance were handled by the vice leader. Mu Tian's continued, "These three are fairies from the upper domain, here at our Alliance for business. Upon hearing you'd arrived, they wanted to meet you, no other reason." Mu Tian's didn't elaborate on their purpose. The three didn't speak, only gazing curiously at Lin Moyu. They made no sound or mental transmission. Anyone not in the know might think they couldn't speak. Of course, this was just a joke. Chaos perfection beings can remake their bodies at will. Silence is never disability. Lin Moyu quickly realized the white robe was an upper domain supreme, while the green robe was the central domain. The two supremes were close, and so were their domains. The women were likely here on the white-robed supreme's business. With war brewing in the South Pole and the Alliance mobilizing, with the North Pole possibly next, upper domain agents were on the move, so this was normal. Lin Moyu said, "Greetings, Vice Leader Mu. May I ask why you summoned me?" Mu Tian's didn't answer directly. He glanced at the three women. One smiled, "Since Vice Leader has business, we sisters will take our leave." Mu Tian's nodded, "Give my regards to Leader Luo." She replied brightly, "Your words will be delivered. Taoist Lin, do visit Upper Domain Alliance as a guest sometime." Lin Moyu replied with equal politeness, not committing to when or if he'd go. With a glow from the teleport array, the three women disappeared. Mu Tian's beckoned, "Taoist Lin, please follow me." Lin Moyu wasn't sure what Mu's purpose was, but knew there was no malice. He had a hunch the ever-absent true leader might be the green robe, a very plausible scenario. If so, Lin Moyu knew there could be no harm intended. He followed Mu Tian's down a path away from the transmission area, toward the Alliance's headquarters. Tall, awe-inspiring towers lay ahead, refined, majestic, radiating authority. Above the headquarters, a floating castle hovered, a powerful artifact surpassing perfection, its aura shocking. Yet Mu Tian's took Lin Moyu onto a side path, through a grove to a small, ancient village. The village was quaint, with perhaps 100 houses, scattered but orderly. Behind lay hills and a stream winding through, leaving the village for distant lands. Birdsong and flowers blanketed the scene, a peacefulness pervaded, dissolving all cares upon entry. Mu Tian's finally spoke, "This is where us old folks retire and rest." Lin Moyu replied, "It really is a good place blessed by nature and talent." He noticed clusters of immense soul flames flickering slowly through the village, a sign that their owners were calm, unhurried. Yet all these soul flames belonged to top-tier perfection experts. Out in the world, such experts were rare, yet here were 100 and doubtless more were hidden. There may well be other villages like this. The strength of the God Alliance was evident. Mu Tian's and Lin Moyu walked the village path. "Taoist Lin, you once helped solve the cross-domain array issue in the East. That was a huge help." Lin Moyu kept quiet. Although resolving the array was important, he didn't think such a task warranted the vice leader's personal thanks. Seeing his silence, Mu Tian's continued. Recently, the leader visited and asked us to prepare a little something for you. Lin Moyu asked, what kind of thing? Mu Tian's answered, just some materials, nothing of great value, but the leader said Taoist Lin might need them, so we prepared a batch. The leader Mu Tian's referred to was certainly the green robe. Why not deliver it himself? Why use Mu Tian's as agent? There must be some restriction at play. Lin Moyu recalled the green robe once said during his descent to the source continent, the walls have ears. Apparently, there were things he really couldn't do personally, so he had to ask others. Entering the village, Lin Moyu instantly felt dozens of powerful wolves scanning him up and down. Some were friendly, others invasive, attempting to peer inside. Ordinary cultivators would have to endure such prying due to the status and strength of the wielders. But Lin Moyu wouldn't put up with it. World-burning flame flared on his body, instantly incinerating all those probing wills. A chorus of grunts echoed from all over the village, followed by angry muttering. These ancient cultivators clearly disliked Lin Moyu's method. Mu Tian's calmly addressed them, take it easy, Taoist Lin is the leader's guest. Don't make trouble. Chapter 4493, The Green-Robed Elder's Little Test. Mu Tian's voice echoed through the whole village, and instantly all the auras settled down. No one dared feel anger. No one tried to peer into Lin Moyu's mind again. Mu Tian smiled at Lin Moyu. No need to concern yourself with them. They've been living secluded here so long, any outsider is a novelty. Lin Moyu asked, do these seniors never leave? Mu Tian's replied, hardly ever. They're mostly alone, have no real reason to go out. They've given up on reaching Supreme and don't even dare try for Quasi-Supreme. This is just how their lives have ended up. Mu's words were blunt but true. Everyone in the village could hear him, yet none refuted or even shifted their aura. Clearly, Mu had delivered this speech before. They were all used to it. Becoming a Supreme is impossible for them. Trying for Quasi-Supreme is too risky. Their ambition isn't enough, at least not compared to the Wine Sovereign. To attempt Quasi-Supreme is to risk disaster, but without risk, there's no reward. Lin Moyu didn't comment. Everyone picks their path, and it's fine not to regret it. Mu Tian's led Lin Moyu to a small cabin. Everything's inside. Go ahead, take it, don't be polite. Lin Moyu pushed open the wooden door. Its neglected hinges squealed. Inside was another space, suddenly expanding to more than 10,000 meters wide and high. There, piles of materials formed mountains. A chill permeated the room. Every material was coated in pure ice. Freezing them together removed any risk of incompatibility, even if their properties might clash otherwise. This bounty from the green-robed elder was meant for Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu mused, how did he know so many materials were needed? Compared to what Lin Moyu had collected before, this was millions of times greater. Did he foresee I'd visit the Silverlight Rabbit clan? No, that's impossible. He couldn't predict Silverlight. He just knew I'd cultivate a domain, so he prepared materials in advance. Cultivating a domain was set by the Calamity Supreme, and the green robe was in on it. But the Silverlight Rabbit affair is purely personal. No one could see that coming. With Silverlight Rabbit, Lin Moyu could move much faster. Previously, he'd been worrying about materials. Now they came to him. With these, domain growth could speed up. The ancient ice could be set aside, used later for compressing domain force. Wishing to store the materials, Lin Moyu found they would not budge. A powerful force locked them in place far above chaos level, truly supreme class. The green-robed elder left them here with no fear of theft. It was not an array holding them, so one cannot break an array. To claim them meant overcoming a challenge. That old man really doesn't let you rest. Lin Moyu laughed, realizing this was some little test from the green robe. It wasn't meant to hinder him, probably just for fun, or perhaps the elder was watching from afar. Lin Moyu scanned the vast chamber. Nothing obvious was hidden. 3 mountains of materials stood at trinity points, not a true array, but arranged suggestively. Those were the only details to puzzle over. Studying the 3 piles, Lin Moyu saw each was different, but all were exactly the same height, and at each peak, the top material was identical. That was strange. The rest looked randomly placed, but the tops were all alike, clearly deliberate. What's more, all 3 top pieces were mirror smooth. A quick glance told Lin Moyu the secret. He smiled and flicked out 10 motes of light. Fire turned to scorching suns, illuminating the space and rising to be level with the 3 peaks. Light shone on the top materials, each reflecting a beam onto the floor, 3 beams overlapping. At their intersection, faint markings appeared on the ground. Lin Moyu made out the traces they were left by something round. The marks bore vague patterns which seemed meaningless. But since the green robe left them, they must matter. After a moment, Lin Moyu understood what to do. He flicked his wrist, and the frost jade cushion flew out. The ground's faint marks matched the cushion perfectly. Combined with the cold around the materials, clearly, the frost jade cushion was the key. He placed it over the marks and expanded it to cover them all. Nothing happened. The cushion remained unchanged, as did the material mountains. Lin Moyu sat down on the cushion and began powering it. This was a supreme treasure. He'd only tapped a fraction of its power while in the domain, to great effect. But after entering chaos, he hadn't used it, not because it was weak, but because he hadn't refined it, hadn't drawn out its full power. Now he understood the green robe's intent. He had to refine the frost jade cushion. To refine it, his soul needed to reach chaos perfection. In truth, this was a test of his soul's power. To cultivate a domain, he needed to do so before reaching perfection. After perfection, he'd run out of time. So the green robe was requesting that his soul reach higher before his cultivation did. Soul surpassing cultivation, this was his requirement. Whether this was the green robe's own intent or something set by the Calamity Supreme, Lin Moyu wasn't sure, but it didn't matter. The point was, Lin Moyu was now fully capable of refining the frost jade cushion. He hadn't had time before, but for all these materials, he'd do it now. The cushion was powerful, but Lin Moyu was not walking the same path as before and didn't want to rely too much on objects. So let's refine it. Powerful soul energy surged into the frost jade cushion. Lin Moyu's soul was now beyond perfection, perhaps not quite supreme level, but stronger than most quasi-supremes. Refining the cushion posed no difficulty. Soul waves swept through, strengthening their connection at incredible speed. An ordinary chaos perfection might take centuries to refine a part. Lin Moyu took a dozen days. Soon, as the refining progressed, the cushion radiated intense cold, resonating with the icy energy in the mountains of materials. The whole space froze. Lin Moyu then discovered the cold of the cushion was very similar to the ancient ice, about 30% alike. Chapter 4494, Ice Crystal, that place. Lin Moyu believed his intuition was right. The frost jade cushion definitely had some connection with the ancient ice, and more precisely, with the ancient ice behemoth. He brought up the issue with Little Tree and Chaos Child. After carefully examining the cushion, both confirmed Moyu's suspicion. Little Tree said, before, Master hadn't refined the frost jade cushion, so nothing special was apparent. Now, it seems that the frost jade cushion was forged from the corpse of the ancient ice behemoth. Chaos Child added, they're both parts of the ancient ice behemoth's body, but they feel different to me. Little Tree said, you're right, the frost jade cushion likely used that beast's soul crystal. Chaos Child, surprised, asked, you mean it was forged from that guy's soul crystal? Little Tree answered, it's just a guess, not certain. Not convinced, Chaos Child pressed. If you weren't sure, you wouldn't say it. You must have seen something. Little Tree explained, I met the ancient ice behemoth once, so I'm about 60% sure it's his soul crystal. Lowering his voice, Chaos Child grew mysterious. If it really is that guy's soul crystal, does that mean we could go there and take a look? Little Tree said, possibly. Chaos Child insisted, then it's decided. If there's a chance, we have to check it out. I've always wanted to see what that place is like. Little Tree reminded, it's up to Master, not you. Lin Moyu listened in silence, waiting for a proper explanation. As Moyu continued refining the frost jade cushion, he gradually discerned its differences from the ancient ice. Both originated from the ancient ice behemoth and wielded cold, but the cushion's power was far purer. If used at full strength, its output could surpass even the ancient ice. Perhaps, as Little Tree theorized, it was truly forged from the beast's soul crystal. Finally, Little Tree and Chaos Child explained what a soul crystal was. Long ago, the first ice formed in chaos, which birthed a will and became the terrifying behemoth, the ancient ice behemoth. At the core of this primordial ice was a unique ice crystal, containing 90% of its power. Over time, the ice crystal evolved into a soul crystal, bearer of its soul. When the behemoth died, the soul crystal disappeared. Little Tree never saw it, so can't confirm absolutely. As for that place, Chaos Child mentioned, it is an extraordinary site in chaos, said to be linked to the behemoth's appearance. Normal means can't reach it. The ice crystal is the key to entry, but once it became the soul crystal, the behemoth couldn't enter either. The site was discovered only because, time and again, the behemoth tried and failed to gain entry. Eventually, other beings took notice. No one knows exactly what's inside. Theories abound, but all are speculation. Chaos Child elaborated, that place is now the North Pole. Actually, the behemoth once dwelled there too. The ancient ice only ended up in the West Pole after its demise. So now that the beast is dead and its soul is gone, the soul crystal has reverted to an ice crystal, perhaps once again usable as a key. Master, you could go explore when you reach the North Pole. Lin Moyu mused, even if it's reverted to the ice crystal, it's since been refined into the frost jade cushion. Not sure it can still serve as a key. Little Tree replied, it should work. Back then, the beast failed because its soul had tainted the ice crystal. Now in artifact form, it's clean. Chaos Child said, I see no problem, at least Master could try. Lin Moyu chuckled, you two are bold. Aren't you worried something dangerous is waiting there? Chaos Child replied, even if there's danger, you'll surely handle it. Little Tree said, back then, the behemoth kept trying to enter the site and was obsessed with it. Must be something inside, otherwise it wouldn't have bothered. He was at the peak, even stronger than me, stronger than this guy too. If he wanted that place badly, it must be special. Chaos Child protested, what do you mean stronger than me? I'm just not a fighter. Little Tree ignored him. Whether to go or not is up to Master, we're fine either way. Lin Moyu thought a moment. Once I reach the North Pole, if there's an opportunity, I'll try to find that place. Little Tree said, if you do, use the frost jade cushion as the guide. Partnered with the Seeking Cause ring, you should be able to locate it, though it might take some time. Chaos Child added, even if we find it but can't get in, there's little lost. He was especially curious about what was inside and why the behemoth was so fixated on it. He knew other formidable beings had tried their luck too, all failing to enter. Clearly, the place is extraordinary. As the refinement neared completion, the cold enshrouding the material mountains whipped into wild wind, becoming white mists streaming into the frost jade cushion. That cold originated with the cushion and now returned. The chill vanished from the materials, unlocking one after another. Lin Moyu didn't hesitate. Each material freed was swept into storage, sent into the grand world for the Silverlight rabbits to handle. The unlocking sped up. The mountain of materials shrank rapidly. No doubt the Silverlight elders in the storage space were stunned at the sudden material rain. These materials were impressive. Few were low chaos grade. Almost all were upper chaos grade, some even higher. No Supreme would risk their reputation by donating weak ingredients. Such paltriness would be laughable. The mountain dwindled, refinement nearly complete. When the last material was taken, the process finished. From this moment, the frost jade cushion belonged to Lin Moyu, severed forever from the green-robed elder. Wholly refined, the cushion changed form, no longer a seat, but a fist-sized hexagonal crystal. Chaos Child exclaimed, "That's it for sure, that's the one." Little Tree concurred, "This is the ice crystal, the ancient ice behemoth's very core in its day. It was the vessel for his soul." So the frost jade cushion hadn't been its true form now. As pure ice crystal, it could reach its full power. The ice crystal is not made for cultivation. Its greatest use is freezing. It freezes everything, time, space, spells, anything. Its offensive and defensive powers are supreme. Even the golden-winged rock would be stopped cold, no way around it. That's where our chapter ends. Here's my analysis. The Tang God sword formation shattered against the cold toad's perfection defenses. Tang Feng's face was pale, his brother Tang being wounded, their treasures exhausted, the dark god pearl still trapped atop the palace. 3 perfection cold toads emerged from the ice. 4, actually, one already wounded by Lin Mohan's sword projection, but still deadly. Tang Feng looked at Lin Moyu, Taoist Lin. Lin Moyu stepped off the sword. He didn't summon undead. He didn't use the catastrophe staff. He just walked forward as attacks rained down and nothing touched him. One finger tapped the ground, a single chaos rune, the palace array shattered. The dark god pearl flew to Tang Feng's hand. Then Lin Moyu released 1 billion undead, all at great completion. The cold toad clan was slaughtered in half an hour. But the ancient ice beneath them began to move. The cold ancient behemoth, a creature so vast its frozen corpse had become the cold toad's homeland, not fully dead. A fragment of its will had fused with a cold toad, waiting in dormancy. Now it woke. The ice reshaped itself into a monstrous hybrid, half toad, half behemoth, grotesque and nauseating. Its power exceeded normal perfection. Its body was nearly unbreakable. Lin Moyu transformed into a giant and punched it. Again, again. Each strike shattered ice, cracked the void, sent the beast reeling. His soul attacks hammered its weak spirit while his body traded blows with an ancient horror. When he finished testing his limits, he burned its soul with world-burning fire and purified its will with purifying water. The beast collapsed, the ancient ice fell still. Lin Moyu opened his storage space and swallowed the entire frozen continent. On the way to the cross-domain array, the West Pole struck back. 1,000 great completion beasts, sky rams that bent space, dragon turtles that formed unbreakable shields, golden light divine rhinos with traces of ancient blood, blocked their path. Tang Feng fought brilliantly. The dark god Pearl powered his sword formation to perfection level. One strike killed over 1,000 enemies. Then a perfection expert's giant hand smashed the formation. Tang Feng's group had no strength left. Lin Moyu stepped forward again. 3 cold toads, perfection, mind-controlled, emerged to attack the West Pole expert. The space-time soul python appeared. The perfection experts took one look and fled. The python's reputation was that terrifying. At the cross-domain array's core, the Catastrophe Supreme's statue spoke. Everything you need to know, you already know. Then it left, its will merging with others Lin Moyu had awakened. He refined the sub-array, then the main array in the central domain, becoming its secret master. But when he tried to teleport north, the arrays were closed. War was coming. The South Pole was already fighting. The North was on high alert. Lin Moyu went to guard Alliance headquarters instead. Vice leader Mu Tian's waited for him with a gift from the green-robed Supreme himself. Mountains of materials frozen together, enough to cultivate domains for centuries. But they were locked. A test. The frost jade cushion was the key. Lin Moyu sat on it and began to refine it fully, something he'd never had time to do. As his soul, now beyond perfection, poured into the cushion, its true nature emerged. It wasn't a cushion at all. It was an ice crystal, the soul crystal of the cold ancient behemoth, the core that held 90% of its power, the key to a forbidden place in the North Pole that the behemoth had obsessed over for its entire existence. Little Tree and Chaos Child recognized it instantly. That place, they called it, where the first ice of chaos was born, where the behemoth tried and failed to enter, where no one had ever reached. Now Lin Moyu held the key. The ice crystal gleams in Lin Moyu's palm, pure, cold, stripped of the behemoth's tainted will. The mountains of materials fill his storage space, feeding the Silverlight Rabbit's endless work. The North Pole waits, its arrays closed, its borders fortified. But somewhere in the frozen north, a place that has slept since before chaos began is stirring. A place that even the cold ancient behemoth could not enter. The key is in his hand. The question is, when Lin Moyu turns that key, will he find a treasure beyond imagination, or something that has been waiting for him since the first ice formed? If these revelations about ancient behemoths, soul crystals, and the forbidden place at the heart of the North Pole have you hungry for more, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for Extreme Highlights audio novels. We bring you the most explosive moments from the novels you love, delivered straight to your ears. New chapters drop daily, so you'll never miss a beat of Lin Moyu's journey. Extreme Highlights audio novels, where stories come alive.